Hello, bonjour tout le monde. Hello.
Hello. Oh, do we hear echo?
Testing. You talk now.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Irene. Am I hearing echo or no? Is it just me?
Slight.
Hello. Test one. Test
Slight.
two. Hello, everyone. Byron, hi. Oh, it's 12 p.m. in Dallas. Well, it's guys, it's 7 p.m. here in Spain.
Thanks, Byron.
Hi, Kim, Maria, and Sophia. Oh, from Sicily. Hello.
Ooh.
Hi, June.
Sicily's on my bucket list, I have to say.
Yes, I think so. Hey, Denise.
Irene says yes, she hears an echo. Irene, can you say, oh, no echo now. Okay.
Yeah, I think it diminished, so that's good. Very
Hello,
good.
Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
Hello,
All
everybody.
right, so today's Tuesday. We are back. We are actually live. We are reading your name, so that's that giveaway. So we are live, and we are going to be decorating Valentine's Day cookies today, guys.
We are.
Valentine's Day, it's about a month away, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're the 11th, so just about. I've been like straining my eyes for the past few weeks decorating. I'm like, why? I can't see the cookie. I can't see what I'm doing. Then it's like, oh, maybe I should put some glasses on. So today I'm wearing my glasses.
Oh, really? You had trouble?
Oh, yeah. I was
Don't you have your... Aren't you wearing those?
Oh, my magnifying ones? Yeah, no, I don't wear those all the time.
No? Ohio. Thank you for telling us where you guys are. We love hearing that. Hi to Philly.
Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to be starting. Han is
as always, massaging the bags.
Let me do the dance.
Oh, Dallas. Yes, seasons are going by so quickly. Spring will be here before you know it. Days are getting longer and longer, guys. So take a note of it. Every day, the day is a little longer.
Well, the faster we can get through this pandemic, the better.
Yes.
We'll take it. Okay, so this is the cutter. This is the cutter I'm using today. This is actually, I picked it up. It's probably a Wilton. I picked it up at Walmart a few years ago. I really like it. I mean, the Walmart plastic Wilton collections are usually very, very cheap. Maybe this was $2 or something, very affordable. And it's quite sturdy. And here is the cut cookie. And I'm just going to show a quick little video here. I'm just going to share screen. Where's this one here? Is it? And where's the video? Can I make it bigger? It's not very big, eh? Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys.
It's fine.
I just wanted to show you that I brushed on a very thin layer of royal icing. And you can see there that's super runny. And it's just to give a little bit of a background on there. And it dries super quickly. So it's the same royal icing, just very, very runny. And you just run through them and it dries super quickly, okay? So I just wanted to show you guys that. And so the cookie has had time to dry. And I did add a little bit of pearl. I don't know if you guys can pick it up, but I added
a little bit. I think there's a little sheen, yes.
I add a little bit of pearl to it. So if you guys have questions, you can pop them in. Si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les ajouter. I tried to post to do a French stream at 11, but my page in French is not very popular or established, and so it was practically like maybe 2 people would have watched me, so I skipped it, and so we're here. So if you have questions, si vous avez des questions. Tolson, that's in the United States, I would imagine. Yes, Wilton has very affordable, nice products. My only criticism with Wilton is their petal dust, luster dust, and their colors can sometimes be bleeding, like red and black. That can sometimes be a problem.
Now, yes. You have a question about, I believe that's the same, right? You refer to flow as black?
Yes. That's
right. I remember the terminology from a Wilton decorating book years ago, when I first got a book that said flow icing. I remember that.
So now I've got a piping tip today. This is a 1.5. PME is the only company that makes a 1.5 piping tip. The one is fine, but the 1.5 is just that little bit bigger, and it sometimes can be a little bit hard on the hand to squeeze out, from a very, 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 very small hole. And so I'm working. See, I'm kind of like on the outside here, and I'm positioning myself in between two of the scallops, and I'm going to zoom in for you guys to see a bit better. Let me focus this. That looks okay.
Joe said that's great. You're feeling better. We are all happy to hear that.
Okay. So I'm positioning in between the scallop. I'm squeezing, making a tear shape, and then kind of rubbing against the cookie and pulling away. Is that focused?
It's a bit out.
Yeah, I'm trying to get zoomed in, but
oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at this. You could see the shimmer from the
so
dust.
I'm positioning. You see, I'm right in the middle of that kind of hole, like the little dimple there inside, and then I'm just creating these little tear shapes right in the middle of each of the scallops. And I'm kind of, when I release the pressure, I kind of like rub down on the cookie to kind of like
Well, this doesn't look like super stiff consistency. It looks like it's pretty good, like flexible on hands.
Yeah, well, when you're working with a very small piping tip, if you're using very stiff icing, you're going to really hurt your hand. So it's like not flood consistency because you want it to hold a line, but you don't want to hurt yourself either. So I'm just running through the whole cookie here in between each of these scallops, just adding these little tear shapes, and you can see it's pretty easy. Is Sally on?
Sally is, I guess I didn't see Sally. Hi, Diana. Thank you, Iran.
So I squeeze, release.
Netherlands. I don't see Sally yet.
Squeeze, release, and I'm just kind of gently rubbing against the surface. Now, you can't really see, but there is that thin layer of white, and it would show more, let's say, if this cookie was chocolate. And the point was to kind of give it like, kind of like, the transparent part on leaves.
Yes. Good. Very nice.
So you release the pressure when you know you want to end. Okay, so once I've gotten through the whole cookie, then you can let that crust over. So I've got one here that has had time to do that. Any questions? Thank you, Irene. Hello, Diana. All right, so now the same piping tip, those little dots have had time to crust over. And I'm just going to position myself here. And so now we're doing like the shape, a C, the letter C. So I'm going to be adding a C in between all of these little tear shapes, okay? So I'm starting here, squeezing, increasing the pressure. I want it, and then I'm releasing. I want it to be slightly narrower. Continue, and now I'm going to increase the pressure again over here, okay? And you see? And when I do the next one, you're going to see the little design kind of appear. Increase the pressure, and you get like a little kind of detail there.
Like a fleur-de-lis?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Increase the pressure, and there. So you work your way around the design or the cookie, and you're going to get this kind of pretty lace that appears.
Yes, Kim says that it almost looks like if you were doing the eyelet design where the open space would be. Yes, I love it.
So squeeze.
I like how you showed how you can start because lace can be somewhat tricky and taunting to do. So if you do the first set, right? First, it gives you basically the bearing point where you're gonna do the C.
So here, this is a slightly different shape, the scallop. So you're positioning yourself next to that tear in the middle, follow the cookie shape, and then again, you're just adding these C's.
Hello, Liliana. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Hello.
So you just work your way around. If you want the white to be even more kind of like to pop, you could add a drop or two of white food color to it. Some powdered sugar, depending on where you are in the world, sometimes it can be a little bit dingy off-white, eggshell white. So if you want it to be really white, you can add just a little bit of
coloring.
Yeah. So it's really not like a I'm not saying that this piping is easy, but I'm just saying that it's not a complicated design. Once it's broken down, you see, it's like repetitive. You're going around, and the shape of the cookie actually helps a lot to know where to put what. So squeeze, release a little bit, and increase. You're really on the edge of the cookie, so be careful when you touch it so that you don't stick your finger.
You know what I would say? That brushing it with the icing prior adding the design is also helpful, not only from the design point, but when you're piping these lines and they dry, if it's sitting on a cookie, they often tend to break off because
Oh,
the
yes.
fat and royal icing, they're directly in contact. So this way, the layer also helps amend that problem if it should arise.
All right, let me see here, Kim. Yes, it's it's a version of it. It's a kind of lacy look, yes. And so now at this point, you can let it crust a little bit, but I'm going to do the outline for the actual heart because I do want to add right at the top, like at the point of the initial tear shapes, a dot. You see, so right here, I'm adding a little dot. And this one you might need to fiddle with, just a little dot. Can you guys even see it? I'm adding a little dot right at the end.
Now it looks definitely like a fleur-de-lis. To me, anyway, it like partial or something. It does have that feel.
Well, I was going for, there's so many different styles for Valentine's Day. There's elegant, there's cutesy. So I was going for a little bit fancier for these. So this is if you want to practice your piping, it's a nice little project. And let's say you don't like your lines or something, you can just grab your spatula, let it dry a little bit because it's easier to scrape it off once it's dried a little bit. And then you can scrape it off and start again. I'm just adding these little dots. I thought about it after. I said, this is not the ideal color for a live stream for you guys to be.
Sally just joined. So Marlyn said earlier, she was actually talking about you, Sally. That this is fairly easy. What do you have to say?
Okay, so now I'm going to position myself slightly inside. So I don't want to touch this kind of border that I did. And I'm going to lay an outline for the center so that it even more looks like there's a lace kind of border around this heart. So I'm letting the line, which comes out like a spaghetti, I'm letting it fall. If you're super close to the cookie, sometimes your spaghetti can get a little jagged because you're so close and it shakes and stuff. So I'm holding my piping hand with my empty hand, and it helps to keep it kind of in place so that it doesn't shake. And again, I'm dropping my spaghetti, kind of eyeballing it. And if you want, you can add a guideline, but be careful what color marker you use to add that guideline. You might be better to scratch it in with your scribe so you don't have anything peeking through. You're going to end, release the pressure, and touch at the beginning. And there we have our outline. And you can see.
Ben has a question about the subscription fees in US dollars. Sorry, I think it's because the company that it's US based, so that's the reason, I believe.
All the platforms are basically American. There's not much with regards to Canadian suppliers for that type of stuff.
Creators, yeah.
And so everything is in American dollars. So what is Kim saying? Yes, you can do it. I mean, it's really step by step. If you break it down, don't look at the project like as a whole. Of course, it's going to be intimidating. So now I've got pink icing, and this icing it probably could be a little runnier because I do have a perimeter. And so if you have a perimeter, your icing can be slightly runnier, but the runnier your icing is, the flatter it dries. So you want to think about that. A super, super runny icing basically varnishes. It does not stay poofy like we see the cookies that have like an actual thickness of icing. It just kind of like shellacks it. So now I'm filling the heart portion here. And I'm staying within the the heart that I just drew. And I guess you could outline it with the...
This reminds me of a cookie that you sent me like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I remember now. Yes. So once I've got my initial line, now I can kind of increase the pressure to fill it a little bit faster. My house here is a bit dry because we're heating. Obviously, it's winter here in Canada, and it's actually minus like 30 today. So
what? Come again?
Yeah, it's freezing. It's the coldest day of the year so far.
You
All
mean
right.
during the daytime?
Eh?
You mean the daytime?
In the daytime, yes. All right, so now I've got my icing. I'll tell you in a second what this is urgent now. I've got to hurry up.
Okay. Yes, we can see it's very urgent, guys. So tell us what's the temperature where you are so we can all stop complaining. She has minus 30. So I'm gonna just zip it.
And just to clarify for our American audience, this is Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Yes, that's minus 30. It's brutal. Brutal.
And so I've just healed up the surface of this pink icing. Now, because I just piped that a lace really, really close to the edge, you want to be super careful when you pick it up because you're going to stick your finger in it and you're going to damage it. But if you're having trouble healing it, you can like kind of rock it, and that usually will self-level the surface. But you can see there, it's pretty smooth, and then you can see the edge kind of like, how it all ties together, how it kind of looks nice together.
Reminds me of an old-fashioned Valentine's Day candy boxes with chocolate variety, Cynthia says. Wow,
Well,
everybody is experiencing some brutal cold everywhere. 25,
yes, it's very cold.
15.
Cold.
Julie, just better to watch out from the Desert Network or individual pages. It depends on what, I think probably individual pages you can interact more with also other members.
Julie, remind me, are you the one back in the day that got banned from one of our pages? Is that why you're going on Dessert Network? When we had that little mishap with pressing the button? Oh, Connie, life is hard for you.
Well, here we had, I need to say, I'm gonna have to look up what's the Fahrenheit. I can't remember. What's the?
I'm not good at the conversion.
I'm terrible at the conversion.
So yeah, so that's basically the process to add lace, and you can go as fancy or as simple as you want for these designs.
57 here.
And that's it. So Hannah, are you ready?
I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. So thank you for showing us how to do this beautiful cookie. I enjoyed the process very much.
Oh yeah, and I think if it was in black with lace around it, I think it would be nice.
Is there a way to have that dry?
I'm sorry, what did you say? Whoops.
You keep stitching. I was. Karen has a question. Is there a way to have that dry shiny without using corn syrup? Yes. Yes, you just have to up the drying time. So I found that using the fan is really helpful.
Yes, absolutely. The
It does
dehydrator.
work. Yes, it does work magic. Also, Karen, I think that's you, Karen. So remember last Friday I was showing some stuff that I got in Prague, and Marlon was asking whether these are soft or not. So Karen, the big one, I mean, they're soft. you can actually like it's so easy to chew for them. It's not like a hard rock pearl, and they taste good. They have like this strawberry taste or something. All right, guys. So today, because it's Valentine's Day in a month, I'm gonna be working also on Valentine's Day cookies. Here is a little template, and I used this handy tool. What is this called?
Oh God, I don't know. It's a
Somebody
template.
help us out. You already, yeah. So I use this to make a template because it's basically just a rectangle.
Yeah, you'll see
So,
that in the office supply. It's a drafting tool. It's like for people to draw plans and stuff.
yes, Karen, I think you you might need to bring an extra suitcase. All right, so we're gonna. You can see I already did the triangle rectangle here. It has to draw at least cross, and then you can do the flap. Okay, so I'm gonna do the flap. Can you guys?
So that we can see they're super shiny. Did you put those to dry in your dehydrator thing in your oven?
I have a food. I mean, I do have a fan running here. I didn't put it in on. I have a fan running, and I have a dehumidifier running because it's quite humid here. So I think that's what that also makes them shiny. They are shiny, aren't they?
Yeah, they are nice.
So all right. So I'm gonna skip the step where I'm doing the outline thing. So I'm just gonna do the flap.
I just want to mention something that happened to Han last year. She made her transfers on wax paper and then put them to dry in the dehydrator in a warm oven to speed up the process. And the wax melted, and they basically welded.
It was very difficult to get them off. I was able to get them off, but the wax paper was actually tearing during the process. Okay, and then you have to let that dry. Once that dries, we can use this is a marker. You see, guys, this is dual angle marker. Usually you see me using black one, but this is red. It's the same brand, Rainbow Dust, and it's just red marker with dual ends. And I'm going to use this fine tip to make the stitching. Is it stitching on the envelope or what is it?
Well, it's
Whatever that is.
it's a anyway little decorative detail. Pam, are you asking like you want to know how she makes her just generally how she makes her transfers? What do you mean you want the method? What method? Just elaborate and we'll explain just to make sure that we understand your question.
I do have a very detailed blog post about transfers in general. It covers all the different styles and techniques of creating transfers,
There's
how to
Han's
use
blog.
them, how to use them in decorating, not only cookie decorating, but also for cake decorating and cupcake decorating. Oh, so now I'm gonna use the fancy sprinkles. These are from Bilton. These are hard as a rock, and I'm just gonna add one little heart on the envelope. Yeah. Now to actually remove them, I'm just gonna use my seeds dry, so you can use your palette knife, and there is a little envelope. Yeah, I don't know. Those are not my favorite markers. I will use them for an occasion to usually do small things, but I prefer food doodlers, and I think Mar is with me on this. Food doodlers, or you have tried other markers. Um, I keep going to food doodlers, or I also have food. This is a rainbow dust. Also, Americal brand. They make also markers. They're quite nice. Oh, she disappeared. All right, so that's the envelope. I'm gonna set this aside now. We don't need that now. And remember last month I was using these triangle cookies to make trees. We did, what else did we do? We did New Year's Eve cookies, and I also used them to make Chinese New Year's cookies. And so I had some leftover, and I'm going to do gnomes. I'm going to do two different gnomes. And here's my little template to get me started.
my thing just
Yeah, I
just
know. I was trying to keep calm and
yeah,
cool.
it just kind of took me out. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so I'm trying to locate my yellow marker here. This is just parchment. I was lazy again, but you can use cardstock. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna go around here so you guys can see. I'm just gonna make a line.
Connie, how much glycerin do you put in your icing? Do you find
Glycerin. Yes, you can do. You can add glycerin, but I think glycerin. Um, what is it that glycerin does? I can't remember
it's
now.
to soften it so
To
that it's
soften.
not
Yes.
crunchy? So I always worried about the glycerin that the icing would be fragile. That's what was my concern with regards to the glycerin.
So now I'm going to use white. I'm going to do two different style hats. This is going to be, we have a, what's a girl? What's a, what would
I
the
don't know what
girl
a
be
girl gnome
called?
is. I
Girl
don't
no? We
know.
do,
So Emily, the cookie surface of like just regular the icing can give a shiny surface, and then you can add all kinds of different pearl finishes to make it shiny. There's different products available. You want to look for something that's fully edible. What's the company that Roxy Rich? Han uses Roxy Rich, and don't you for the pearl? I think I use that.
yeah, I Roxy Rich, and I have other brands. I have sugar, uh, all the, I honestly, I don't remember all the names of the brands because
But look for fully
yes, but Rox, yeah, make sure that it's food. I'm gonna see if I have some here on hand, but I don't know if I do. Make
Angie's
sure
asking.
it's food grade, like it's FDA approved. It should have mica particles, which are safe to eat.
How long does it take your transfers to dry, Han?
It depends on the size of the transfer. Now these envelopes, they're not too big, but for them to fully dry, I would still give them a day, like overnight, just to be
Hmm.
safe. If you're working with a transfer that is thin, they will obviously, or small, they will obviously dry quicker. But to be on the safer side, I would say overnight.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to wait longer though, depending on where you are and how the temperature, the weather is, and climate, and all that. But overnight,
What's your icing count for your transfers?
I prefer about 20. That means that's the flat icing. But if I'm doing transfers come in a variety of different um, shapes. So transfer is basically also a royal icing rose. It's a transfer if you let it dry. So that would be a stiff icing. You could also make transfers using stencils. You would use a thicker icing for that. So now I'm gonna set this aside and we're gonna let that dry. Now the second head is going to be just stripes.
So Tina, her recipe is right there. Go to hanielas.com and you'll find her recipe.
Okay. Am I doing yes? Okay, this is also white. I forget. And transfers, what's beautiful about transfers, so I made the envelopes now, and if I store them properly, I can use them next year.
Ken,
Yes.
Nance is asking about the cookies cracking during climate changes. Have you had your cookies
Cookies crackling,
cracking? Yes.
cracking. Climate change. You mean the weather changes, not the I mean, what? Well, I guess the weather. When the weather changes.
I had a lady write me from the
Um,
Caribbean, and she had her cookies cracking.
cracking. You mean when they are baking?
No, when they're on the cookie sheet, like she had.
Oh, when you decorate and they crack?
Yeah.
Well, that's some mysterious. Do you know what that could be?
Well, the lady in the Caribbean, we concluded, I had sent the picture to Amber too, that it was probably intense humidity, you know, because when you're in a
Mhm.
area like
It
that.
could be, yes, I guess. Yes. So many problems, right? Due to temperature or humidity. So this is also icing that is flat icing. For this small section, you don't have to go crazy and use 10 seconds or anything like that. You could easily use 20. If you are a beginner though, and you are slower, I would say go with 15 seconds. It's more fluid and it gives you a little more time.
Mhm.
If you are slower, your icing is not going to be crusting on you. I do have a fan running here, so the icing crusts fairly quickly here.
And repeat your markers that you use.
So today I used, here I have two markers. The yellow marker, I used yellow because yellow it's marker that we rarely use on anything, so it comes handy when you need an outline on a cookie and you don't want it to be too harsh. Sometimes when you're using black, even with the yellow, I could worry it could become a problem that the yellow will seep into the white. So ideally you want to use like a brown or like a light brown marker. That's usually no problem. That is the color of the cookie. But I used yellow, and this is a food doodler. And I actually have these in my Amazon shop. So if you type Haniela's Amazon in the Google search, my shop will come up, and I have a section there, the whole category that covers markers. And this one, I don't think they sell these. These food doodlers, you can get these in a whole variety of colors. I think it's 10 or 12 markers, or you can get separate individual markers on their website. And I think now they started selling two, right, per set. So you can get two black, two yellow, and so on. These, however, I don't think Rainbow Dust sells these as a set. I think they're sold individually. They are more expensive, right? One is maybe like what, $4?
Oh no, they have a 5-piece set.
They do have 5-piece set. Okay, so I didn't know about that. So I bought these individually. But if you can get your hand on 5-piece set, that's great. Now I mainly use black, gray, and I have blue and red. This is the first time I've used red, so I don't know like if anyone uses red. Have you used red?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
So I think the black is probably the most used for eyelashes, for little details. If you're trying to maybe do some wet on wet and then do the outline, this is the marker you want to use because it's super fine. See this end? It's very, very fine.
Yes. But the thing that's great about those is you have the two ends, right? So you can pick
Yes, you
depending
have
on
the
your.
two ends. And what's also good, these you can actually use pliers and take the cartridge out. I mean, if it happens that you run out and you need a marker,
Oh yeah, you can fill it.
you could fill it.
So Emily's asking about how you would apply your dust.
Transfer now the transfer real icing transfer. Well, there are two applications. What by that I
She's
mean
asking, I think, would you add the dust to the royal icing or apply it on top? So I guess she's asking if you mix it in or if you paint it on.
dust. What dust?
Well, we were talking about pearl
Oh
dust.
no, no, no! Yeah, you don't. You apply it on the top. You don't add it to. It doesn't do anything when you add it to the royal. As far as I know, it doesn't really do anything when you add it to the royal icing. It would be such a waste.
Yeah. So you have to wait till the surface is dry.
Yes, for most part, yes, yes. You can either with now the dusts are can be so confusing because you have a petal dust, you have a disc like a jewel dust or disco dust formerly, and then you have a luster dust. Okay, so don't confuse luster dust with the highly like glitterish product. Luster dust, it's fine and it can be used dry and mixed with alcohol to paint, which I think most of us use it to paint gold accents on cookies. The pearl one, it's very nice. Marlyn, you use the pearl one, right?
Oh, I use it on today's project. Yeah.
Yes.
I
But
like
it
the
was
pearl.
it was a wet application, right?
And yeah, and if you want, if you depend on your project, if you want to work quickly, you can buy a can
Hmm.
and spray the
Kim,
pearl on.
Kim says that it did work, but you have to add too much more. Yeah. So if I mean the thing is, these products they come in like here. This is the Sugar Art brand. It's 100% edible food coloring, made in USA. This is diamond dust. So I'm gonna slowly open it. You don't want to go rush this because this stuff is first of all is expensive. You see how shiny this is. Um, Little goes a long way. Now, like I said, because it's so expensive, you want to be careful not to have it like hey, you'll be a fairy by the end of the day and having it on your eyelashes and everywhere. So this stuff costs maybe $8 a piece,
For a
maybe more.
small
Yeah, they're
container.
quite small, but they do last a long time. I don't like to use this.
Salt shaker, yeah, me
I
neither.
don't like. I mean, it's so huge. I mean, it will take you what twice, and it will be empty. So I usually they sell bottles, but I don't have those. So I just usually use old-fashioned dry brush, and I dip it in. Let's see. I'm gonna just do it just so you guys
So
see.
Han, here's a question from Diana. Does the heating fan work better than a regular fan? And would it be more like a dehydrator? So just a fan or with the heating
With the
portion?
heat, now I do have my like. I personally, because I've used the I have an oven that has a fan and a heat, but I'm able to lower it to the temperature that is very very low. In my experience, what I've had happen was the bleeding was the issue with the heat. Not the combination of the fan, but the heat itself. I think it caused the bleeding. So I personally would, if I could, I would recommend. I mean, I would just use the fan on its own, not with the heat. Or if you do use it with heat, just maybe you can control it. Just put the heat on for a couple, let's say 10 minutes, and then turn it off just so it crusts quickly, and you get that shine, and then turn it off and use just the fan without the heat. Okay, so this was just a little shimmer. All right, so now I'm going to. Oops, we actually have to
So
place this.
if I can just answer Susan. So Susan, an option. It's a tricky one. I'm stuttering here because of when you're heating your house and it dries everything out. So your option is to maybe tweak your designs to work with an outline and a runnier icing. So if you can work with a slightly runnier icing, it'll give you more kind of working time. If your house is very, very dry, that's kind of
Yes.
like the solution to it. I don't think you want to put a humidifier in your house. Just make it cold. So I think that's your solution. There's echoing for both of us, Janae.
I can hear it today. I don't know what's going on.
I don't hear any echo on my side. Hi, Sharon. Hello, Victoria. The red is good for teeny mouths. Oh, yes, the marker for the small mouths. Yes. The second marker, so she was using Food Doodler and Rainbow Dust. Rainbow Dust is more expensive for detail. You don't use Rainbow Dust to draw on your cookies.
No, you save it for special details, eyelashes. Like I said, if you do wet on wet, let's say flowers or anything, and you want to kind of give it a more of a what's the look I'm talking about? On my feed, there is icon. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna see if I can. I don't
What are
know.
you using to fill your markers?
I'm sorry.
What do you use to fill
To
the
fill,
markers?
well, I would just fill them with. You could use. Um, I've tried airbrush colors, or you could also try using Everclear and mix it with some a tiny bit. Is it better? Okay, toasty. All right, so now I have. Oh, still very weird.
Debbie, any shape that has a scallop. So any shape that has a scallop, you could tweak the design to fit on.
Now, obviously, this has to be gray, has to be crusted. Yeah, I can hear it. I don't know why it's echoing. Nothing changed. Always a technical issue.
So Kathy, an option is you can buy spray, gold spray, and you could spray your cookies gold. That's a fast and easy way to get the gold. And then the color, there is gold food color, but it's obviously not metallic. And you can buy actually, Evil Cake Genius sells a gold royal icing mix, but it's quite expensive. So there's a few solutions.
Now, if you decide to spray, I would recommend that you cover up your surface around you because the spray, like if it's in a can, you have a very little control. So you're just broadly spraying everything, and it's going to be on your table and everywhere.
What temp do you set your oven hand when you're using it to dry your icing?
It's 40 degrees Celsius, so it's very, very low. But like I said, I do it just to start it. I don't I get it started. So it was very humid here at one point before we got the dehumidifier.
Mm.
And the only way for me to dry it was to stick it into the oven. Really, it was quite bad. Now with the dehumidifier, it has to run all the time, but it's much better. Okay, so this is the beard, obviously.
Connie's saying some people, I hadn't really seen that, Connie, are using the heat gun, like a
Oh,
scrap.
oh, that's interesting. I would, yeah, I believe that. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know how that works. Like with the heat gun, is it like a, I guess heat gun is not like a hair dryer.
No, it's a craft
Or,
tool.
yeah, but it's not, is it actually producing moving air or no?
Yes,
Because I would be afraid of the rippling effect, you know?
yes. It's not like a blow dryer, but there is a bit of a fanish. Like it does create a bit of a wind. So yes, you could get hairline breaks in your surface for sure. You couldn't go very close to the surface. They're saying it sounds like there's a TV and saying it sounds like there's a TV in the background.
We just got it
Yeah.
after 2 years, but we have no service. No, there's no TV.
So Rainbow Dust has a fine tip, yes. And then the other one that I use is called Drip Color. Theirs is even smaller, the tip, than the
So
Rainbow
here
Dust.
is a dry version that I have here. And on this dry version, we're just going to play pretty safe. I'm just going to add
I like your username, YouTube user. So she's new to cookie decorating and she's asking about the scribe. So is it really as easy as, because she's saying, I'm going to read, when I use my scribe to move the royal icing around, it doesn't move as easily as you make
Oh,
it.
okay. Yes. So you might want to try a toothpick because when you are new, the fine scribe it doesn't move as much icing as you sometimes would hope. It's for really like fine details. Like I was doing the beard, was pulling the icing, so I was using the fine tip to kind of drag the icing. That is really great to have a fine tip. If you're trying to move the icing faster, I would suggest using something with a thicker tip. Like this is the one that Marlyn had. You have given this to me years ago, and this is a weapon. This is like I think it's one from One Piece or something. It's so sturdy. This is great for doing the when you have to scratch the icing. This is like $1 maybe. This tool and this works great because it will move the icing very fast. But I would not recommend it for super fine details because of the tip. It's not super fine, so you won't be able to achieve like the fine detail if you're looking for to work on some tiny little details.
But that metal needle, that metal one, that's a clay tool, and it's very affordable as well. I think
Yes,
two or
this is also great. Yes.
$5 or something.
Yes.
So you can look for that. Yes, it is, Cindy, an embossing heat gun. Exactly the same thing. Yes, I agree with you too, Susan. I'd be a little nervous, but some people, I guess, to each his own. You find your thing and it works. Prefers the hydrator, yeah.
Now this little heart, we could have done this also. Oh, I am hating this. Oh, sorry guys. I guess it was my turn to have technical issues. I don't know what's going on.
So
So
this is interesting.
you could have done the heart as transfer as well. It would save you time.
Araceli's saying my speaker is on a bit too loud. Maybe I'm just too loud.
Well, we love it when you are too loud. I wouldn't have it any other way.
So Diana, I did not see the drip color. Where's the comment here? I haven't seen the drip color available, just the black. I only saw it, the pack of 5. So if you can find it alone, then just buy the black. The other colors I honestly don't really use.
This could also be a transfer if you want to make their noses ahead of time. And I'm just poking it with the tip to smooth it. I call it a sewing motion here. Okay. Now I'm going to have to wait for the heart to crust at least to make little hands. And I'm going to use the same. Well, if it crusts in time, we'll add the hands last. But we can also make the feet.
So Han,
yes,
you make a transfer template for these?
I will have them if you guys join us, and I hope you do join us on Friday. I will have them in my coffee shop on Friday.
Perfect. So if they want, they could do the noses, they could do the hearts. They could
Hearts,
do...
yes. I will have all the templates there. Because once you do the envelope or the love letter or whatever you want to call it, you can do the hearts, you can do the nose and even feet and just pop them on. How do you keep the nose from cratering? Now we'll see if this one is going to crater. This one didn't crater, so hopefully it's fine. Now this was did you see how I had to smooth it with my tool? So the icing was on a thicker side, it wasn't runny. If it's too runny and you're trying to pile it up in one section, that's when the cratering usually occurs. What you can also do if you had a problem like that, you could create a
skeleton
skeleton support where you pipe a small. If I have a paper, you don't start with you start with a little dot like so. You let it crust and then you pipe over it, and this little crusted part is going to prevent that icing on the top from sinking in. Okay, and you can use that technique on any number of different designs, not just on the nose.
Well, depending on the size of your cookie, some other options, if you find that your nose is a crater, you could add a candy underneath, like an M&M is a good support if you don't want to wait, like you just put the M&M underneath and coat it, or use a pink jelly bean for the nose. That'll hold its shape. So Nancy's asking again about her climate. So living in Louisiana with the extreme climate change temperature, and just yesterday it was during the day 65 and then at night 29. Okay, yes, that's pretty extreme.
That's kind of extreme, yes.
Can
you move?
Can you move? I would guess the only way to control your temperature change would be to put it in a dehydrator type thing, because then it's at the fixed temperature that so you decorate them and you put them in the dehydrator, and then that's a fixed temperature. You're not going to get that temperature change, and then once they're dry, you could take them out. That's, I guess, the only way to control the fluctuation, right, Han? What do you think?
Yes, I think so. So now I'm using this chart tip. You can see my icing is pretty stiff. Oops. This is You can call it whatever you want. I don't know how to call a girl gnome.
I don't know. Cindy says she only uses the dehydrator in 10 to 15 minute intervals to not dry out the cookie. I guess, yes, that would be a concern, right? Have the cookie dry out.
Yes. That would be my concern. Oh, mine is 18 over the weekend and it's like 50. Yeah, so the temperature drop and yeah, it can gnome. I love it. Is that for real? Thank you, Diana, for making me laugh. This is awesome. Gnome. Is that for real? Is that how you call it? Girl gnome? Well, I wanted to create a girl gnome because we have, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to do it.
Well, it's all about the couples, right?
So you could obviously just have two male gnomes, or but I think we need a girl gnome as well.
When I Googled it, it gave me like names, like to name her,
To
like,
name her.
like, but it doesn't say like what, you know. Oh gosh, it's a nomide for a female nomide.
So I like nomad. It's
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Here it is. I'm just popping it in. No, that's what it Google. Nomide.
so now I'm gonna put the envelope here.
And then they have nomes, as in
Nomad.
goddess.
Nomide. Well, that's like dynamite. Nomad.
Bit
I
weird.
like. Well,
Nomad.
nomad is a completely different thing. She's not a nomad. She has a home. Okay. And you could really play with these cute little things. You could airbrush different designs on their heads and their bodies. Make it as cute as you want. I'm going to add little hands here, although I should have gone more to the right here, but it's okay. I'll make it work.
And I mean, you could add the hands on the transfer sheet, right? It's one more thing that you could do in
Yes.
advance.
You could actually add the hands onto the envelope. Now we have to add the feet. So I'm going to do the feet in here.
So how many colors did you make? You have the red, the pink, the white,
I did
flush
this.
color.
No, I mean, I think I regret doing the gray. It's like a gray. It's not the gray. It's the gray with the blue.
Yeah, it's like Wedgwood.
Yes, it's like a Wedgwood. So I think I would have liked uh, him, the body to be teal because this is teal. But I wanted to, yeah. But I was going off the felt ornament or something.
Yeah, no, I have not made a slice and bake.
Okay. I love slice and bake. Slice and bake all the time. I just made, well, slice and bake. You do make slice and bake, honey.
I do.
You do. You make the pistachio. Isn't that the slice and bake?
No, that's not what she's talking about.
What are you talking about? Oh, Christmas cookie challenge. They what did they do? Slice
Oh,
and bake.
inside was a design, like you're slicing.
Oh, slice and bake. Yeah. I did something, but it was a long time ago. I want to do something, but yes, I see what you mean.
I would imagine Julie's saying, could you use a proofing box? I guess you could use a proofing box to dry. What do you think? I mean, the temperature is 70 to 195 Fahrenheit. I mean, it's not hot. Is it big enough to put a tray of cookies in? Does the proofing box introduce humidity? Is there a moisture element to the proofing box? I always thought that because it's bread, it's adding some sort of a moisture.
Proofing usually has, if it's it should have moisture. I do have a brewing function in my oven, and it actually introduces some steam to
Yeah,
have to
moisture. That's
increase
what
the moisture content in there, because that's what you want when you're brewing bread. You want temperature and moisture.
I thought. So, what color did you use for?
Yes, I did, Connie, and I actually have here in a freezer checkerboard. Oh, I have chocolate and vanilla that I forgot to take with me to Prague, and I'm munching on them. They're excellent. Checkerboard slice I did. So here are the cookies. I wasn't able to finish the guy because the heart is still wet, but you get the idea. You just add little hands, just little knobs, and yes, there you have.
So, what color did you use for the nose and hands?
For the nose and hands, it was basically just ivory with a little bit of pink.
Ivory and pink.
Yes, ivory and pink. Yes. Thank you, Florence. Nomad, I think. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, 15 to 20 colors. Hell.
Oh gosh, yes, that's brutal. We've been there. I mean, sometimes some of the. I mean, I didn't really do any. As you see, there's no additional piping, so I was avoiding using piping consistency. This was thick. It was stiff. The hair, but other than that, it's all 15, 20, 25, the nose. Um, yeah, you could obviously go, use some piping consistency, add some details, use some white to add some folds in there if you wanted to, or add a few lines on the feet to give it more detail. But that's all up to you. You could use a marker to do that as well. So that's me. If you painted, what color would you use for the feet? Oh, for the feet, I mean, he's wearing the shoes. So you could make the shoes any color you want. So if it was teal, if the painted bottom teal, what I think they would be red. Because I really like red, and they would be red, yes. Or white. Well, with the beard, probably red. I'm confusing myself as always.
So, Julie, if you don't have the moisture element, I guess it would work. I mean, you're basically just needing to dry out the surface of the icing quickly. And so if it's a big enough area to lay it so that, they're steady, so that they're not like, your tray's not going to fall on its side, then go for it. I think it should work. I mean, it's just a little bit warm. And then having just an oven light on, do you think that's hot enough here? Linda's asking.
Oven light can be. It's hot. I think oven light. Yes, it does because it's on an enclosed area. So over time, it actually it produces heat. Janai, I hope that's how you. For flesh tone, you can add a tiny amount of brown to white to get a flesh tone. Yes, if you don't have ivory, yes, definitely you can use brown, or you can also a tiny bit of green and red to get some. You can use what you have.
Exactly. And if you guys aren't aware, on Chef Master, their website, they actually have a little, if you search their site, an area where they show a rest like the color combination. So like to make a certain color, what colors you need to make a certain color, like how many drops and all that on their website. So if you need a mixing guide, a color mixing guide, you can go on their website. It's free.
Now the color, yes, you could do the hardest as transfer. We mentioned that I'm gonna have that on Friday. Lynn was the cutter that I used. So I used the cutter. This is a cutter that I had made. Somebody made it for me years ago, but it's not available anywhere. So I have a template in my coffee shop.
Oh, that's true. Easy. Well, an easy bake oven, basically you're cooking, it's a child's toy and you're cooking cake with the lights is basically what that is.
Oh, is it? Is it how it's cooking? It's cooking with the light? Okay.
Well, it's for safety, right? So the kid doesn't burn.
Does it work?
I mean, it does, but I mean, it's not a culinary masterpiece. I mean, it's like they're pretty nasty things, but it's like such a small amount of dough that, you know. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing me twice today.
That's it. That's it. They're getting 2 times the hand. So
Two times, yes, double dose. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We are going to see if it's gonna work on Friday.
yeah, we'll see you on Friday. I'm gonna stick with Valentine's Day for a couple of more lives since we didn't really get that many kind of in. So we'll do a couple, and hopefully you'll join us on Friday. And if you have any questions, you can always pop them in the comments in other videos or whatever, or send us an Instagram. We check our messages. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll
Thank you.
see you
We'll see you
Friday.
Friday. Have a good rest of the week. No Friday.
Bye.
Bye.